For the next part of the tutorial, we're now going to create the needed layers based on the planning stage we have created a while ago. So I'll now go to my node view. Shortcut for drawing layers is Control R. But before I do that, to make everything organized, I'll be creating one composite. So this composite right here will basically be the composite of my main character. So I'm gonna rename this composite. Let's call it main comp. Then from there, on top of that, I'm going to create another composite, which will contain all the layers for my upper body. Let's call it upper body comp. Then beside the upper body comp, I'm going to create a new comp, another composite. So this one right here will basically contain all the drawings for the lower body. So I'm going to call it lower body comp. There you go. Okay, so from here for the upper body comp, I'm going to proceed and create the layers for the head. So I'm going to start first with the eye. So Control R. Let's create the layer for the pupil. Press enter. Then iris. Enter. Eyeball. Enter. Then the eyebrow. There you go. So make sure when creating the layers, we align them horizontally so that it's much easier to navigate. Okay, so from here, I'm going to change the order. So everything that is at the bottom part will be on the right side, and then the leftmost would be the topmost. So iris is next, then pupil, and then eyebrow. So these layers right here, when combined, they will form the eye. So we can create a composite to make everything organized. I'm going to call it eye comp. There you go. Okay, so just like what I've said a while ago, if the character is symmetrical, there's no need for you to create layers for the opposite side. So we just need one side, and then we can just clone and mirror it later on. So let's proceed. So after the eye, I'm now going to create the layer for the facial features. So namely the nose and the mouth. There you go. Okay, so here at this point, since we are actually creating or building the layers for the head, I can just create another composite, which will group everything. So this composite will contain all the features for the head. So basically, this one will be called as the head comp. Okay, let's move on. After the nose and the mouth, I will now go to the head shape. So let's have head, then jaw. There you go. I want both to be connected to the head comp as well. By the way, to easily connect these nodes to the composite, you can just select them, hold Alt, and then click the composite. Okay, next. So I have here the beard. So I want it to be before the jaw. So create, Control R, let's call it beard. Then connect. There you go. Next. So after the beard, we have here the ear. Control R. Let's call it ear. And then, of course, the ear detail. Same thing. Connect to head comp. Then we organize. There you go. Okay, next. The next would be the hair. So for the hair, since I will be having 9 layers, it is best to contain them inside one composite. Again, shortcut for composite is Control H. So I will be renaming this as the hair comp. Okay. So I'll be starting with the front part. So I'm going to call it I'm going to call them bangs. So bangs 01, bangs middle, and then let's say the bangs 02. There you go. So this will be the front part. Okay. Next would be the sideburns. This one right here. So let's call it sideburn 1, and then sideburn 02. There you go. So these two are already done. Connect and organize. Okay. Next would be the top hair. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So I need 4. So maybe let's call this top hair. Hair top 01, then 02, 03, and then 04. Connect everything in the hair and the hair comp. Then let's begin organizing. There you go. So all these layers will now be responsible for the hair. Okay, so that's it. Let's go now with the next part. So after the head, we have here the neck. Okay, oh, there you go. Control R, let's call it neck. And then I have here my chest. So I created the drawing for the chest, which will contain the skin for the chest. And then I have here 3 drawings for the collar. So I'm going to call it collar 01, 02, and then back. Okay. Connect, then unstack. Okay, I want the neck to be connected here. Then collar. So basically the chest would be right after the collar back. There you go. Then collar. That's it. Looking good. Okay, next would be the shoulders. So Control R, let's call it shoulder 01, and call it shoulder 02. Connect and unstack. And then for the shirt, I identified here 3 parts. So I have the main shirt, I have here the shirt line, and then I'm going to call this one the shirt gap. So shirt to be followed by shirt line, then to be followed by the shirt gap. Then same idea, connect, unstack. There you go. Okay, so we're almost done with the upper part of the body. So the only thing left to do here is to create the layers for the arm. Okay, so for the arm, so since all these drawings basically forms the arm, I can just create a separate composite to contain them. I will be calling this the arm comp. So later on, I can also create more composites to organize these drawings, because you can see we have a lot of connections to our upper body comp. So let's try to minimize those connections for easier navigating and tracking. Okay, we have the sleeve, we have the upper arm, then the lower arm, and the hand. Connect everything, then unstack. Okay, so for the arrangement, I want the hand to be at the bottom, then to be followed by the lower arm, upper arm, then sleeve. There you go. Okay. So let me just align everything horizontally. And then from here, let's try to analyze what or which parts can I still add comps. Okay, so for example, for the collar. So basically for the collar, so this part right here, I can create a composite for the collar back, the collar, and let's say the chest. Maybe I can also include there this neck. There you go. Chest and collar back. Okay, so for this one, I'm going to call this as the collar comp. Next, what else? Nose and mouth. Okay, maybe we can create another composite for the facial features. So all the facial features, which includes the eyes, the nose, and the mouth, I'm going to put I'm going to put them inside one composite. So let's call it face comp. There you go. Okay, so the ear and the ear detail, I'm going to put them in one composite, since later on we'll be using masking so that the line will be contained inside the shape of the ear. So let's call it ear comp. Okay, looks good. Okay. So maybe for this three, the shirt line, and the shirt cap, I can compress them inside one composite. So this will be my shirt. Shirt comp. There you go. So with this limited number of connections to my upper body composite, it's much easier to track. So you have to remember the composite also controls the layering or the order in the Z-depth. So leftmost is topmost. So with this few connections, it's much easier to know which is on top, which is at the bottom, as compared with this kind of connection. Let me just delete the composite. Without all those composite, it will look something like this, and it's much difficult to track which is at the in front and which is at the bottom. That's why I put those composites right there. Okay, so let's complete all the layers by creating the layers for the lower body. Okay, so for the lower body, a while ago we have identified the pelvis or the hip and then the crotch. Let's do that. So hip, just called hips, then the crotch. Connect, unstack. So the crotch is on top of the hip. And then for the leg, So each part here, I want them to be contained inside one composite, just like what we did with the arm. So this will be called as the leg comp. Okay. So for the drawing, so we have the thigh, we have the shin, and of course we have the foot. I will be connecting everything to the leg comp, then unstack them. For this hierarchy, I want the foot to be at the bottom. So I'm going to put it at the rightmost, and then followed by the shin and the thigh. So basically for this hierarchy, I want the thigh to be at the top. Okay. So let me just line up everything. Again, we want all the drawings to be aligned horizontally. So there's actually a very useful button to allow that. So I'll just be selecting all the drawings. In your node view menu, we have your button called Align Nodes Horizontally. If you click this, all the nodes selected will be automatically aligned. There you go. So after this part, we're now ready to create or draw the artworks.